If you're a history enthusiast who wants more than just stories from the past, you've come to the right place. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button so you never miss the kind of survival strategies that turned the tide for soldiers in the harshest conditions of the Second World War. Today, we're exploring a topic that was literally a matter of life and death for soldiers and civilians alike: how to purify water under extreme circumstances. This isn't theoretical. These are field-tested methods used during the Second World War, adapted for anyone who wants to survive in any crisis, anywhere. During the war, access to clean water was never guaranteed. Soldiers often had to rely on streams, puddles, or even water collected from snow. Without proper purification, contaminated water could lead to dysentery, cholera, or worse. What I'm about to share are techniques that allowed troops to turn dangerous sources into safe drinking water, using minimal equipment and ingenuity. These methods are still relevant today for survivalists, hikers, or anyone preparing for emergencies. Understanding why water purification was a battlefield necessity. In the European and Pacific theatres, contaminated water was as deadly as enemy fire. Commanders quickly learned that dehydration was unavoidable, but disease from unsafe water could decimate entire units. Soldiers were trained to recognize clear water wasn't always safe, and that stagnant or murky water carried microscopic threats. The emphasis wasn't just on survival, it was on maintaining operational readiness. A unit incapacitated by waterborne illness could compromise an entire mission. For modern survivalists, this underscores that water purification isn't just about staying alive. It's about staying effective and alert. Boiling water over improvised heat sources was a universal solution. The simplest and most reliable method used by soldiers was boiling water. In field conditions, metal canteens or mess tins could be placed directly over fires made from wood, brush, or even fuel rations. The principle is straightforward: sustained high heat kills pathogens. If you're in a crisis and lack standard cookware, Second World War soldiers often repurposed empty food tins, carefully fashioning them into makeshift pots. Even when flames were small or fuel was scarce, a few minutes at a rolling boil made previously dangerous water drinkable. In practice today, this means if you're out in the wilderness, even a small camping stove or improvised fire pit will allow you to purify collected rainwater or stream water efficiently. Using improvised filtration to remove sediment and debris was often the first step for soldiers in the field. Before boiling, water usually needed a first layer of filtration. During the war, soldiers would frequently use cloth, bandanas, or even pieces of their uniform to strain out visible particles. Now, this step didn't make the water safe on its own, but it did prevent sediment from clogging up cooking utensils and made boiling or chemical treatment more efficient. In modern survival situations, any tightly woven fabric can serve the same purpose. Layering multiple pieces of cloth, especially when dealing with water from murky ponds or rivers, can really increase filtration effectiveness. For example, folding a bandana over a cup or small container and pouring water through it slowly can reduce solids significantly before you move on to further purification. Chemical purification was, a compact solution for mobile units. When boiling wasn't practical, chemical purification became absolutely critical. Back in the Second World War, soldiers often carried iodine or chlorine tablets to disinfect water quickly. These tablets were light, portable and effective against most bacteria and viruses. The procedure was simple. Dissolve the tablet in a measured volume of water, wait the recommended time, and the water was safe to drink. Today, the principle remains the same. Iodine or chlorine-based drops or tablets are a survivalist compact alternative when fire isn't available, making sure you've got access to safe hydration even in highly mobile scenarios like urban emergencies or when you're hiking remote trails. Leveraging solar and makeshift distillation techniques was sometimes the only option. In desert campaigns or remote locations where both firewood and chemicals were scarce, soldiers would sometimes rely on solar distillation. This method involved collecting water from plants or salty sources and evaporating it using sunlight, then condensing the vapour back into a container. World War II manuals described using plastic sheets or metal trays to direct condensation into a collection vessel. While this method was slower, it proved invaluable in arid zones. Even today, if you find yourself without conventional purification options, you can replicate this technique with a clear plastic sheet over a bowl, a small rock in the centre to guide condensation, and, well, a bit of patience. It's slow, but historically it saved lives. Learning from improvisation, using natural materials safely. Soldiers were forced to adapt constantly, using natural materials when technology wasn't available. Charcoal from burned wood acted as a primitive filter, removing odours and some chemicals. Sand and gravel layers could form multi-tiered filters to clarify water before boiling or chemical treatment. The key lesson is adaptability. Understanding how materials around you can serve practical survival functions makes you far more resilient. In practice, even if you're camping in the forest, a small layer of sand and charcoal in a container can dramatically improve water clarity before disinfection. Now, applying lessons from the Second World War to modern survival planning, well, that's where things get really interesting. The true value of these wartime water purification methods, you see, is that they work even under the most extreme constraints. Modern survivalists, folks like you and me, can actually combine these approaches. Straining and filtering water with fabric, boiling or chemically treating it, and then storing it safely. Keeping small, portable purification tablets on hand, understanding improvised filtration, and knowing how to boil or distill water from just about any source. Well, that creates a robust toolkit indeed. So, whether you're facing natural disasters, off-grid adventures, or even historical reenactments, these methods give you the confidence to stay hydrated safely, no matter what comes your way. By learning from history, we don't just honour the ingenuity of soldiers who survived unimaginable conditions. We equip ourselves with timeless skills that honestly could save our lives. If this deep dive into Second World War water purification has added a new layer to your survival knowledge, well, make sure to subscribe to my channel and share this guide with fellow history enthusiasts. Every subscription helps us continue exploring the forgotten survival tactics that shaped our world, and ensures you'll never run out of actionable knowledge for both historical insight and modern crisis readiness. Legacy of survival.